On September 26th, 1991, Mama Melrose's opened its doors in Hollywood studios. And today, on May 10th, 2025, the worst restaurant at Disney World will permanently close its doors.
You sound so happy about it.
You'd be right. Mama Melrose's is a part of history here in Hollywood studios, and as sad as I am to see a piece of history depart, I am so happy to say I am eating here for the final time. To give it a proper send-off, I found an old menu from the early 2000s, and we're going to be ordering everything from that menu that still stands in some form today. As you may know, I have a very long-standing beef with Mama Melrose's, as I have been served some truly repulsive meals here, so today I celebrate the end of an era. I am so excited for what's to come, as this area is transformed into a Monsters, Inc. themed land. But I honestly may be even more excited to never eat here again. Ryan, are you ready for what your stomach is about to experience today?
Almost. I do have to go make some room first. I'll be back.
Let's head inside. Look at that pasta in the window. Do you think it's real?
Oh yeah, that's definitely 100% real.
I think it's real. It's about as fresh as the pasta they serve anyway.
Hey, whoa.
Well, we have made it to our table here inside of Mama Melrose's, and I'm very happy to be seated kind of in the main dining room area. The last couple of times I've come here, I've been seated kind of off to the side, and I haven't been able to enjoy the really cool, cozy ambiance that surrounds. And if there's ever a time to be seated in this main dining room area, it is today on the final day of operations here at Mama Melrose's. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to what may be coming to Mama Melrose's, which we're going to get to a little later on in the video. But before we do, I want to explain kind of what we're going to be doing today. So the other night, I was searching for old menus from Mama Melrose's, and I didn't have much luck until I found the only old menu I could find of this restaurant on eBay. It looks to be a menu from the early 2000s, or at least that's what the description of this says. They're selling it for $19.99. So if you're interested, go hit it up. I honestly thought of purchasing it just because it's like a cool little memento. But on the back side of that menu, it has all of the offerings from back in the day. You can see they used to have a bunch of different individual wood-fired pizzas, starters, their dinner, main courses, and it also lists some specialty drinks here. It was really fun getting to look back on what used to be here, and it was really shocking to see the old prices. For example, the old pizzas, the individual pizzas, used to cost around $11 a piece. That is certainly not the case anymore. They used to have some appetizers for under $4. They also used to have a linguine fra diavolo, which I would totally get today for about $18. They had a shrimp risotto. Oh man, that sounds good. I wish they still had that on the menu. That was around $17. So some really interesting old things that they used to serve here. Now, not everything is the same. There's only a handful of food items that they still have a version of today. So, like I said, that's what we're going to be ordering. I figured it was a fun way to kind of pay homage to this old restaurant. And before I let you know exactly what I'm getting, I wanted to show you a look at the closing day menu at Mama Melrose's. For our appetizers, a fried calamari, they have some burrata, Mama's Caesar salad, house garlic bread, fried mozzarella, a Tuscan white bean puree, oh my god, I had that last time, it was awful, a minestrone soup, mushroom pizza, prosciutto pizza, and margarita pizza. Moving on down to our entrees, they have a pasta with shrimp. They have a red wine braised Wagyu beef orecchiette that was also awful. The shrimp pasta and the Wagyu beef, oh my god, I had them last time I was here. It was really bad. The rigatoni bolognese, also not a fan. Not a fan of the spaghetti and meatballs either. This is our vegan option, the polenta cake. They have a red wine braised pork ossobuco, chicken parm, a fresh fish, and a New York strip. Now, they also had some specialty drinks listed on this menu here, and we were given this menu, so I was looking through it to see if any of the drinks were the same, if they had any of the same ones, and this is all like the regular Disney pool bar cocktails that they have at like every single restaurant, every pool bar around Disney World. But I flipped my menu over and I saw they actually have some specialty drinks, none of which I have ever had, and this Italian surfer down here looked very familiar. They used to serve this back in the day as well, so I think that's what we're gonna get. Lord knows I need a little beverage to start me off with this meal. This is the Italian Italian Surfer. It has DiSarno Original Liqueur, Parrot Bay Coconut Rum, and pineapple and cranberry juices for $15.50. Ryan, I want you to guess how much this drink here was back in the early 2000s.
$10.
$5.75. That's crazy. This doesn't seem like much of an Italian drink to me. It seems like more of a tropical pool bar style drink, actually, especially with the garnishes with the cherry and the pineapple. Looks very tropical and fruity. But the Italian Surfer, an old cocktail here at Mama Melrose's. That's actually quite good. It kind of has like a little almondy flavor mixed in with the fruit juices. And while it's not very strong, this is like a very refreshing drink. And like I mentioned, this is like the perfect pool bar cocktail, I feel. Like I would get this sitting by the pool at like one of the resorts. Well, we're off to a fine start here at Mama Melrose, and I cannot wait to see what else ensues. Since we're going to have so much food coming, I kind of wanted to order this in courses, and our first course is going to be our soup and salad course. Now, there is one soup and one salad that used to be on that old menu that I found. They used to have a Caesar salad, and they used to have a minestrone soup, both of which they still have. Starting with the minestrone soup, this bowl here cost me $10, and if you got it back in the day, this costs only $3.95. It does kind of sting knowing that this bowl of soup used to cost less than $4, but honestly, today's day and age, I'm not mad at the price for the portion that you get. And there's a ton of veggies, a ton of pasta in here. This is a vegetarian dish. I'm also seeing like a half of a garlic clove in there, so that's quite impressive. I'm not sure if they're making this fresh or not. If I had to guess, the answer is no, but it looks decent. Let's try it out. In all honesty, it's giving Progresso soup. It definitely tastes like a canned soup. I don't typically mind Progresso, so I think it's quite passable. Like I said, the soup is loaded with veggies, loaded with beans. The broth is nice and light, but also rich at the same time. And it's seasoned well. It's not overly salty or anything. Would I ever get this again? No, because I can't. And because it just tastes like a can of Progresso. But it's honestly, it's better than I expected, and it's also bigger than expected. I thought it was going to be like a tiny cup, but the bowl is big, so I'm not mad at it. Now we also got Mama's Caesar salad. This has a house-made dressing and herbed croutons with Parmesan for $12. House-made dressing. For some reason, I just don't believe that. But like I said, this Caesar salad was also on the menu back in the day. It cost $3.75. Pretty cheap salad. And while I really doubt this has house-made Caesar dressing, this salad actually looks good. The croutons look like they have a ton of seasoning on them. There looks to be a ton of Parmesan cheese and a good amount of dressing on here, so let's see. It looks good. And my initial analysis would be correct. I like the amount of cheese, I like the amount of seasoned croutons on there. The dressing totally tastes like Ken's. Maybe it's not, I could be wrong, but it doesn't taste homemade. It doesn't have like that anchovy kind of flavor. And I actually quite like that anchovy flavor in Caesar dressing. I feel like it adds a lot. So I am missing that a bit, but again, this is not a bad Caesar salad. I would get this again. However, I can't. To go along with our first round of appetizers, we were also given some complimentary bread, which, by the way, these rolls don't even look to be cooked. That's how light in color they are. Like they don't even look to be, I don't know, it looks like raw dough, to be honest. And this oil is the most seasoned oil I have ever seen in my life. There is so much oregano in here. It's almost like they were dumping the oregano in from the shaker and the lid came off, but it's like this every time. So I don't know why they feel the need to put so much seasoning and oregano in this oil. And I know I've never really been a fan of this bread, guys. There's so, I'm stirring this, there's so much oregano in here.
Now, on this old menu that you found online, did it include the rolls as part of the menu?
I don't know, it didn't say, but you're the history guy. You should know this. You should know these things.
I do.
As you may or may not know, I am a bit of a Disney history buff myself, so thank you to Kristen for allowing me to tell this brief history of Mama Melrose.
You're welcome.
Mama Melrose Ristorante Italiano is one of the classic MGM Studios restaurants, but it technically did not open with the park. Originally part of the New York Street area of the park, it opened on September 26th of 1991, after the opening of Muppet Vision 3D in May of that same year. See, this imperfect pairing of Mamas and Muppets was never the original plan. Before Muppet Courtyard became the entry area of Muppet Vision, it was pitched to be a full-blown Muppets land. This land would be home to not only Muppet Vision 3D, but also a Muppets-themed ride called the Great Muppet Movie Ride, sort of a parody of the Great Movie Ride.
It'll be a backstage ride of explaining how movies are shot. And it's almost, but all the information is wrong.
This land would also have a restaurant called the Great Gonzo's Pandemonium Pizza, a sit-down New York pizza joint equipped with animatronic rats delivering your pizza. Does this concept art look familiar to any of you?
There is a long-standing rumor that this restaurant was going to be in the exact location that Mama Melrose is today. And I say today because, as you know from this video, today's the very last day of Mama Melrose.
Whether it was due to budget cuts or the untimely death of Muppets creator Jim Henson during the construction of Muppets Land, sadly, Mama Melrose is what we ended up with.
That doesn't mean what we got was completely void of theming.
I am actually a huge fan of this restaurant's decor, for the sole reason that it's a relic of the MGM studios of yesteryear. All around the restaurant, you'll be able to find photos from the first 10 years of this park. Headshots of celebrities that were featured in the Star of the Day parade that ran seasonally from 1989 to 1999, as well as photos of this very special cavalcade that guests would be able to catch midday. My favorite photo in the entire restaurant has to be this one. It's from the opening day of Star Tours here at the old MGM Studios. It features Michael Eisner as well as George Lucas, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill.
If you love Disney history as much as I do, definitely check out my channel here on YouTube for the love of theme parks, for documentary-style history videos on Disney, Universal, anything. And if you're lucky, you could see Kristen popping up from time to time.
Well, now that we're back inside, it is time for round 2 of our appetizers. Like I mentioned, they used to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pizzas on the menu. One of them is a mushroom pizza, and they currently have a mushroom pizza on the menu, so we have definitely got to try that. This has caramelized onions, roasted garlic, red chili flakes, and arugula for $21. Back in the day, this also used to have some hot sausage for $11.50, and I wish they still had sausage on it today. I feel like that'd be a good combo. You guys, I have to say, from the moment this pizza was put down on our table, it smelled rank. Like, these mushrooms smell rotten, and I like cooked mushrooms. I don't love, like, uncooked mushrooms, but cooked mushrooms I enjoy. These don't smell right. I don't know what it is, if they're actually rotten or not, but I don't know. I wouldn't put it past this place if I'm being honest. This slice here, this crust is like paper thin. Can you tell? Like, it's not even like real pizza crust. It's almost like tortilla. That's how thin it is. And for it being so thin, for it to be this floppy and this undercooked on the bottom is a sin. Let's try this rotten mushroom pizza. Can't wait. Oh my god, those mushrooms are so bad. They're so slimy on there. All I taste is the rotten tasting mushrooms and ridiculous amounts of chili flake. Do you see all the chili flake in there?
Looks good.
Yeah, I love spice, but this, like, literally, this is like too much. That is too much chili flake, man. I want to try a bite without the mushrooms on there. Actually, I'll get a crust bite. It tastes like nothing. Like, it's like, it reminds me of like matzah. Like, does that make sense? I don't know what is up with this dough. This is an awful pizza here, and it's even worse than the prosciutto pizza that they have on the menu. They have a prosciutto, they call it a prosciutto pizza. They put straight up deli ham on it. When I got it, when it first came on the menu, there were like 3 little shards of prosciutto, like this big each, and then it was deli ham. They're calling it a prosciutto pizza. Didn't care for that, and I certainly don't care for this. With that being said, I have challenged Ryan to try a piece of this pizza.
I'll go for
Because
it.
I think it might be some of the worst at Disney World, if I'm being honest. I am not sad to see this go.
Okay, I do see a piece that doesn't have a lot of
that's
mushroom on
cheating.
it. No,
Okay.
I'll eat a mushroom. Look at this. Oh, we got a cheese pull right here. Ready? Cheese pull is not always necessary. I'm going for it. I love it. It's so good.
He's just saying that to spite me.
No, it's delicious. Definitely order this on your next trip to Hollywood Studios.
Aside from our mushroom pizza, they also used to have some calamari on the menu for $5.95. Today it costs $16, and it comes with some pickled giardiniera, marinara, and pepperoncinis. This here cannot possibly be worse than that pizza. Ryan was don't let him fool you. Ryan was actually eating a piece of bread as a palate cleanser to cleanse his palate from that pizza. That's how much he did not like it. But this calamari here looks to be quite crisp. This piece is really crispy, actually. We'll go for a dunk in the marinara. The breading doesn't have a lot of flavor really at all. However, it's very crisp, so I can appreciate that. The calamari on the inside has a slight fishy flavor. Oh, that piece I got was really crisp. This one is not at all. Maybe that was just a good first piece. There's that weird fishy kind of chew again. I don't know. I like that this has some pepperoncinis in there. Maybe that'll help with the flavor just a little bit, maybe. It's a good serving. It's a good portion size, but unfortunately, flavor-wise, it just falls really flat for me. Dang. We're not having the best course here. The pizza and the calamari. The calamari is better than the pizza. Do not get me wrong there. This is edible. That, I don't know. It's not great though. Ryan, come on. I know you want some calamari. You had it last time.
No, you tricked me, and I'm not gonna do it again. I now know what calamari is. I did not before, okay?
I keep smelling this pizza, and it's making me like legit nearly gag. We need to put it on the other side of the table.
Yeah, so it's...
While we wait for our food to... This needs to go away. I need it off the table. Okay, next course has arrived. I'm ready to get that mushroom taste out of my mouth. We have 2 entrees here. Now, only one of them is on the former menu, and that is the steak. This is a former menu item. It's been on the menu since the early 2000s. The chicken parm, believe it or not, has not been on the menu since the early 2000s, which is kind of hard to believe, but I figured I had to feed Ryan today, and we had to try the chicken parm. I haven't had it in a very long time, so that's actually the reason that I wanted to order it. We'll start with the steak. This used to be served with pasta and a gorgonzola butter for $16.50, and now it's actually a New York strip steak with bacon, lardon, mac and cheese gratin, and a red wine steak sauce for $38. Whoa, I am hearing this is one of the best steaks on property. I even heard that this steak might be better than Le Cellier, and I know maybe the steak might not even be the main star of this dish. A lot of people love this mac and cheese here. I've had a lot of recommendations for it. I haven't had this dish in quite a while. Ryan originally gave me a butter knife to eat this, and I'm like, there's no way this steak is gonna cut with a butter knife, but we'll see. We've got that red wine sauce. Looks like a little parsley butter on top there. We did ask for this cooked medium because Ryan does not like medium rare steaks. Oh my God, I can't even cut it with a steak knife. It's cooked medium, I guess. Let's try it. The steak is chewy, and the steak itself is really dry. All the flavor that I got from that bite was from this butter here and from the sauce, which I must say are both delicious. I think the issue here comes with the steak itself. I don't think it's a good quality cut of beef. And also, this is really weird plating. Like, I can barely cut the steak on here because the mac and cheese is like taking up half the plate. I gotta like, I want to cut it down the center. I can't even cut it with a steak knife. Thank God I got this one, because with that butter knife, it would not have worked. It's maybe all the juices have escaped, because the steak itself is dry, but there's so much juice on the bottom of the plate here. Let me get another bite. I do like the charring on the top here. There's a good char. Actually, let me get this bite of char. That's how rough it was to cut. I love charring on a steak, and I think that char was excellent. I wish it was charred equally all around, because I think that bite was actually very good. Again, my issue comes with the quality of the steak. It ain't good. But now let's try this bacon mac and cheese here. Like I said, I haven't had this in quite a while. It looks like a white cheese sauce, maybe almost like some type of Alfredo. It's very creamy. We've got the breadcrumbs on top as well, and I do see some pretty thick chunks of bacon in there. You can definitely taste that smoked, salty bacon in there, and I think it adds a pretty decent flavor. It tastes very similar to an Alfredo sauce, and I think the breadcrumbs on top are really good. I wish they went a different route with the shape of pasta that they're using. I feel like this would have been a lot better with like some elbow macaroni. I feel like penne is not the shape that mac and cheese should be. This should not be used in a mac and cheese. And I guess maybe fair, because it tastes more like an Alfredo to me. It's okay though. I enjoy it. It's a good side with the steak here. And overall, I would say this is actually probably one of the better entrees that I've had from Mama Melrose. I don't know if that's as much to say that this is like fantastic or anything. It's just that everything else I think is so bad that this just kind of stands out. And I actually would get this again, but I can't.
See?
And now for the classic, the Italian classic. Everyone's gonna get so mad at me for saying an Italian classic dish. It's an Italian-American classic. Chicken parm again. This wasn't on the menu back in the day, but I had to get it this time around. This has a breaded chicken breast with marinara and melted mozzarella over spaghetti for $30. Now, I will say, I actually think the chicken part of the chicken parm looks very good. The cutlet looks nice and seasoned. I see some fresh parsley in there, it looks like. My issue is always with the spaghetti. They're just dumping a box of spaghetti in some unsalted pasta water and pouring a ladle of sauce over top, and I just think it's so lazy. I have these same thoughts every time I come to Mama Melrose's. Why can't we just mix the pasta with the sauce? It just, I don't know, it just makes the flavor different. It lets the flavors kind of marry together with the spaghetti and lets the spaghetti really incorporate that sauce. And I just don't understand why they don't do that here. Again, that's not like anything on the chefs and the people working in the kitchen. This is just like their orders and what they're told to kind of do. And I'm sure they might think the same thing, because if you're at a real Italian restaurant, they ain't just pouring a ladle of sauce over your pasta. Let us cut into this chicken. See, this part right here is where I was looking, and I was like, oh, that actually looks decent. It looks a little thick, and again, I can't even cut it with this regular knife here. I need like a steak knife for the chicken parm. Like I noticed, very thick cutlet there, and I like a thin, crispy cutlet with my chicken parm. Chicken has good flavor. It's nice and juicy, plenty of cheese, plenty of sauce. That part, decent. I would get that again. Would I get this spaghetti again, though? That is the real question. It just looks so unappetizing with that scoop of sauce on top. And like, I don't know. It's so overcooked, and that sauce just has a weird tang to it. I don't know. Maybe the sauce with the chicken parm was kind of masked by the chicken and the mozzarella flavor. But when you just eat that sauce on top of the pasta, it's got that weird tang. Not a fan. You ready for dessert?
I am ready.
You're ready? Well, here are our options. Cannoli, tiramisu, lemon mascarpone tart, the flourless chocolate cake, gelato, cherry chocolate cake. How'd I do?
Are you Italian?
I am.
Are we Italian? We're Italian.
Yeah, we're the same. We have all of those options, but I heard about a little secret menu dessert. They have a little kids meal. I learned about it from one of my friends' TikToks. They have a kids meal dessert. It's like a spaghetti and meatball cupcake. They're only about $3, so I'm treating my lovely brother here to a cupcake, so we don't have to share. We each get our own cupcake, so we don't fight over it. And I didn't find an old dessert menu. I wish I could have, but unfortunately, we have to break the tradition of ordering old menu item stuff again to try this cupcake. One meatball.
Is this a song? This is like the fourth time she's done this.
It's what Nate sings whenever he gets a meatball, and every time I get a meatball, I also sing it now, just because it comes to mind. This is not an actual real meatball. Obviously, of course, Ryan had to ask if it was, because he thinks he is funny, but I can't even get it out of the wrapper, so I just have to go in with a spoon. Oh, the icing is hard. I've never had this, but it's really cute, really fun presentation. It's a chocolate cupcake. Ooh, the meatball is like raspberry flavored, I think. No, the meatball is chocolate, but there's a raspberry sauce. Ooh, the meatball is like a cake pop. Ooh. This is actually really good. I'm so sad I'm discovering this on its final day of existence. Maybe they'll bring the meatball cupcake to Pizza Rizzo for a little bit before that closes as well. But this is actually... Honestly, I would tell you guys to come get this as your dessert, this little kids meal hack, but unfortunately, the time has passed, guys. This is the final thing I'm eating at Mama Melrose. Well, our final moments inside of Mama Melrose were actually very enjoyable. I know I keep like ragging on this place, and I really do dislike the food in this restaurant, but I'm really thankful I was able to be here on closing day, the final day. Whether I enjoy something or not, just being a part of like history and being able to kind of look back on what this restaurant used to be like 20 years from now or whatever is really, really cool. And I'm happy I was able to be here on closing day. I can confidently say I will not miss this restaurant, though, and I'm very excited for what's to come. I think Ryan has been following things maybe a little bit more closely than I have, but this whole area is soon to be demolished to make way for Monsters Inc. land. And I know there are some very strong opinions. I will be sad to see Muppet Vision and Pizza Rizzo gone, but I'm kind of excited for what's to come.
Now, I know Kristen said demolished, but that's not a guarantee because a lot of the concept art shows similar buildings to what already exists here, and I think we're going to try to speculate a little bit today.
And the first thing we could speculate is on the building right behind me, Mama Melrose, where we just dined. Rumor has it that that is going to become Harryhausen's, the sushi restaurant from Monsters Inc., which I personally would love to see more sushi in theme parks. I feel like when you say that out loud, it seems like maybe the two don't really mix. However, if done right, I feel like that could be really good, and I have no doubt that it will be better than Mama Melrose.
Honestly, I don't think it's going there. I feel like with the layout that they need, because the main ride in Monsters Land is going to be the Monsters Inc. like factory, the door coaster. They don't have room for Mama Melrose to be here. If you look at the layout of this, if you look at a park map, anything like that, I just don't think it's happening. And what other restaurant would they possibly have in the spot that Pizza Rizzo's in? It's such higher capacity. Yes, it's a lower bill overall for each party going in and out of there, but they would benefit so much more by having it here. And it's not like sushi, yeah, sushi, whatever, but like you could put frushi there permanently. You could put
permanent frushi?
pizza
I know some
sushi.
people would be happy about that.
I know, it would be great. And maybe that's like a Monsters University like cafeteria, maybe, I don't know.
Whatever they do put in this area, I hope there is some type of fun or funny nod to Pizza Rizzo, because it's become such like a fan favorite restaurant. Like obviously they're not serving up the best food, the pizza is not good, but it's become such a fan favorite restaurant that people have grown such an emotional attachment to, and it's funny in there. Like I feel like they really need to include whatever goes in this spot next. They need to include some slice. See what I did there? I didn't even think of that. Some slice of Pizza Rizzo in this new space.
Now when it comes to the rest of this land, the one big question mark is that there's a big building for Muppet Vision 3D, and what is going to be happening to that building? Now, a lot of people are speculating that maybe we will see Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor show up here.
It was in the concept art photos. I did see that.
I don't know if that's going to happen, though, because then you have a big empty building over at Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland, and God knows they would probably not end up putting anything there.
Now this area is closing in phases. So Mama Melrose is the first thing to close, but soon we'll have everything closed. Pizza Rizzo and Muppet Vision 3D officially close on June 7th. Those are the final days to experience the restaurant and the attraction here, but we still have plenty of time, but I think we're gonna head in and watch Muppet Vision 3D. This is probably one of the final times. I'll be here on closing day. Pretty soon the Muppets will be moving over to Rock and Roller Coaster. How do you feel about that one, Ryan? I feel like you'll have a strong opinion on that.
I'm not the biggest Aerosmith fan, but also I would prefer that over having Cookie Monster, yell his cover of I Want to Rock and Roll All Night and Party Every Day in my ear. That's just my opinion. We don't know what it's going to be yet. We'll see. But we might see some things from over here end up over by Rock
I hope so. I hope they recycle some of the props and stuff.
Think so.
That would be nice.
I think so.
But with that, we are finished here today in Hollywood Studios. Like I said, we still have a little bit of time with Muppet Vision with Pizza Rizzo, but today was the final day to dine at Mama Melrose's, and I do really dislike this place. It'll probably go down as my least favorite restaurant in Disney World history, and I'm happy I was here to experience it on its final day. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you to everyone over on Patreon for your support. If you don't already and you enjoy honest Disney food reviews, I'm always gonna give them to you. Hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton of more fun stuff coming your way, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.